Today, we're going to be going over 82 useless facts for 82 brawlers and Brawl Stars, so let's get right into it. The band-aid on Shelly's face was removed when she was remodeled in December 2023, but it ended up being added back shortly after. Nita and Leon are confirmed to be siblings, and this makes sense because both of them have like a very similar vibe to each other with how they dress. Cole is the most featured brawler inside of all the various animations that Brawl Stars puts out, with him having a lot of main roles along with a lot of just little cameos. In July of 2020, the design on the back of Bull's jacket was changed from a circular human looking skull to the skull of a bull because you can see the horns on the sides. Brock only has one voice line that is only one word long. According to his old flavor text, El Primo got his strength and ability because he got hit by a meteor, and this helps explain his asteroid belt gadget, his meteor rush star power, and also now his new gravity leap hypercharge. If you pay attention to the animation for the maple barley skin, you can notice that eyes are different from all his other skins, and they signify that the maple may not actually be maple and that barley is actually drunk. Poco used to be in a class called healer, but obviously that isn't in the game anymore, and so the class was changed to support. Rosa is the last rare brawler added to the game, and it's been about 5 years since another one has been added. The hair in Jessie's icon is slightly darker than the one in her 3D model. The bird on Dynamite's head is actually called a canary, and they were used to detect toxic gas inside of mines back in the early days of mining before all the fancy technology. Tick was actually supposed to be a mythic brawler. When he first came out, he was put with the mythic brawlers despite him being shown as super rare, which most likely means that he was programmed to be a mythic, but it got changed last minute and they just forgot to change that part. 8-Bit is the only brawler to actually have a number in its name, which is surprising since there are a lot of other robot brawlers in the game. Rico's flavor text mentions Space Bounty Hunter, and that is like a reference to what Brawl Stars originally was supposed to be, and that was a space themed game called Project Laser. Daryl has an eye patch on his neck, but that makes no sense because he only has one eye, so he basically wouldn't be able to see anything if he ever put it on. In June of 2022, Penny's cannon finally got an indicator in the form of an X mark to show where the cannonball will land. It had been a bit over 4 years of her being in the game without that X mark, which is just crazy. Carl actually used to be classified as a sharpshooter when he first came out, but about a month later he got changed to become a fighter. There used to be a glitch where Jackie's wall repair that would make it invisible for other people, which is why the stew in this clip is just shooting at the boxes since he obviously can't actually see them in the game, and the only way to see this was going back and watching the replay. Ghosts can have up to 10 whole spirits on the map, though that is pretty rare inside of normal games. Ems had gotten a tiny 0.1 second decrease in the reload time in October 2020, taking it from 2.1 seconds down to a flat 2 seconds. The arrows on Stu's helmet actually point in different directions for his normal player model and his GG pin, which is really interesting, and I think the reason for this is that the up arrow is meant to represent positivity, which is what that pin is obviously about. Piper is known to have a really dark past when looking at her flavor text, but we don't really know what she did, though the most popular theory is that she used to be a spy. The Stonks Pam skin is named after the very popular Stonks meme that I'm sure everyone is aware of. Frank is actually supposed to represent Frankenstein, which is an extremely famous and popular fictional character, and both of them look very similar, especially their head shapes. The face of Baby's bat was removed on iOS devices for some reason, most likely a glitch, but it ended up getting added back once people started to notice. In October 2023, Bia got a slight rework to show how her aiming looked and worked. Nani is the only thrower brawler that can actually fully control her attack to change the distance that it goes. There used to be a bug that would cause Edgar's eyes to actually turn yellow, which was really weird. Griff is actually a human because you can see skin poking through his glove and also by his collar. In January of 2022, Grom got a 1% increase in the recharge rate for a super, which is just really strange how they only did 1% since it basically wouldn't really make any noticeable difference for most people. The name of Bonnie's cannon is Clyde, and that is a reference to the infamous Bonnie and Clyde since both of them travel together and commit crimes. There used to be a glitch where Gil's Twister would end up knocking you and your teammates back instead of the enemies, which just worked against you and was quite a surprise if you never knew about it before. Colette's eye that is hidden under her hair can be seen for a single frame during her animation, but you can only see about a third of it. Belle is named after Belle Starr, who was an actual outlaw that robbed banks and stuff in the Wild West, and she did this with Sam Starr, who was her husband, and this refers to Sam the Brawler, and they had a daughter named Belle, which refers to Belle the Brawler as well. And honestly, this is really just crazy to think about. The face on Ash's back actually used to be the profile picture on the Twitter account for the lead artist for Brawl Stars. Lola's mirror is just a picture of her face, showing how self-obsessed she is. Sam used to be a damage dealer, but then his class got changed to assassin. The default skin for Manny doesn't have an angry face on the bazooka, but the other skins have it, not including the true gold and silver ones. Macy is based off of Mii Gunner from Super Smash Bros, with the main thing in common being the weapon on their hands. Instead of saying kill, Hank says grill through a couple of his voice lines, which is just really interesting. Pearl was originally supposed to be a mythic brawler because her icon was in between other mythics before she was released, and once the chromatic rarity was removed, she became an epic. Larry and Laurie were so overpowered when they came out that they have only received nerfs and have received a total of 11, which is absolutely insane considering they've been in the game for only 2.5 months. Angelo seems to have some sort of antenna or something at the top of his head, which shows just how close he is to the swamp. Barry hates his job at the candy shop, and the ice cream on his head is a clear indication of that. The Beach Time Mortis skin was actually created all the way back in 2019 and was shown in this bizarre beach animation, but the skin itself was released 2 years later in 2021. The first season of the Brawl Pass was called Tara's Bazaar, which is obviously based off of Tara, and it is the only season that directly mentions a brawler. When Gene first came out, using his super would cause the entire game to crash for you and everyone nearby and caused him to be removed for a short while before the glitch got patched. The Streetwear Max skin had a bug that put the display of her watch onto her face, but this ended up getting fixed in March of 2021. The voice actor for Mr. P is the same person who also did the voice lines for Tara, and this makes sense because both of these brawlers don't actually speak, they just make interesting sounds. If you set the game language to French, then Sprout's name gets turned into Wally, which is a reference to Wall-E since both of them also look pretty similar. The Wizard Byron skin also used to only be exclusively purchased for 25,000 star points, but once the star points were removed from the game, the skin then became available for 149 gems and also became available to be bought for 5,000 bling. When Squeak's residue gadget got added, it was super OP since it could reveal enemy brawlers hiding inside of bushes, so there's an emergency fix literally the next day which fixed this. There used to be a thing where if you had more than one loot on your team, they would all share the same freezing bar. The smoke in Ruff's angry pin actually comes out of his nose, but for most other brawlers, the smoke comes out of their ears. Buzz's circle actually lasts for 10 minutes, and you can test this out by just going into Training Cave and timing it. When you kick with the default Fang skin, your screen shakes like normal, but when you do it with the Octo Fang skin, your screen doesn't shake at all. Eve had her aiming line reworked twice, with both of them happening about a month and a half from each other. There was a bug where Janet's winning animation was changed on her default skin to go and look like the one for her dark fairy skin, and this also caused the shading and stuff to look weird as well. There is a pretty popular joke in the community where people said that Otis's voice lines were created by Superstar drowning a child, and honestly it could still be plausible since no one actually knows who the voice actor for him was. If you look at Buster from the side, you can actually see a few pixels of white which are showing his eyes, which otherwise were completely covered with his sunglasses. The only colorful parts of gray are his eyes, which are a light yellow, and the button on his pants, which is a golden color. RT used to be really big and was basically the size of the safe in Heist, and this really made no sense since he looked like a pretty small brawler in the animations. There used to be a glitch where the game would crash every time you used Willow's super, which led to her getting removed from the game for a little bit while the issue got fixed. Dog looks like a hot dog, but he actually isn't one. He just wears a hot dog bun jacket around him, and it does help sell more hot dogs, which I guess works out for him. Chuck used to just spawn in with his super already fully charged, but that changed on the 24th of October in 2023 when the devs removed that, and I'm not really sure if that was a bug or something intentional. It was actually possible to get auto disconnected when you were stuck inside Charlie's cocoon. Miko has gotten exactly one buff and one nerf, and both of these were to his hypercharge. Nori got her name because she is a better musician, as shown in her flavor text mentioning karaoke, as well as the music notes all around her. Lily has a really interesting origin story, as she was transformed from some sort of incident in the woods. Clancy is the newest brawler in the game, with him going into early release towards the end of July. The Logmas skin for Spike is actually based off of the infamous log in Clash Royale and Clash of Clans, and is one of the few things that ties all three of these games together. If Crow's hypercharge runs out while he is midair, then he will just land with his normal super, but if you activate the hypercharge while you're already midair, then you will still land with the normal super, meaning that you have to activate the hypercharge before going midair, and it has to last till you get back on the ground for it to take effect. The addition of the White Wolf skin in October 2023 made Leon the only legendary brawler to actually have a skin for every single skin rarity, and the third brawler overall to have this achievement. Amber was actually inspired by the "This is fine" meme, in which the dog is sitting at the table while everything else is burning, and this was referenced multiple times, with one being a little recreation of the meme and another being that Brawl Stars literally had it in the title of the animation for Amber, which is really cool in my opinion. Meg's mecha looks a lot like Surge, and it is also pretty widely believed that Meg created Surge herself, so maybe she made the mecha as a mini version of Surge. Surge's power Surge gadget had received a rework because it used to be way too strong, and they just changed it from making him teleport to just making him gain 2 upgrades for 10 seconds. And this was also later reduced to just 1 upgrade, so it was definitely a big downgrade, but at least it was much more balanced. Chester is the only brawler that actually technically has multiple supers, since there are a couple different supers that you can get, as that his is main thing and what makes him special and unique. Cordelius was really unique because he introduced the Shadow Realm, which was just a really new and cool concept. Kit's only purchasable skin is 29 gems, meaning that he technically has the lowest average price of a skin if we don't count the cost for the Brawl Pass exclusive skins, as they aren't always purchasable. The dinosaur that Draco rides is actually an inflatable that he just steps into, and it isn't actually a living thing.